Hello, welcome back to another episode of Chitchat with Trenton. Today, I will be talking about a Dimwitted Depositor, the Batman, and bright bats. So let's dive right in. So this week on our Daily Dunderhead, a man in Delaware paid a visit to his local bank and then made a somewhat questionable deposit. That was easier than I thought it would be. All right, let's deposit this moolah, enter your ATM card. All right, your zip code. ATM card password, son of a... All these passwords. Rainbow wheel. Come on. Yes, deposit money. Okay, and would you like a receipt? Absolutely. Perfect. Ha! What more can I say, ladies and gentlemen? I guess you've never heard of an online deposit before. You know, it really wouldn't take the world's greatest detective to solve that crime. And speaking of the world's greatest detective, this year we saw the release of an absolutely outstanding movie. A movie about the world's greatest detective. A movie that redefined what it's like to be a comic book film. So join me in our main feature as I discuss and answer the question, why should you watch The Batman? The Batman, one of my favorite superheroes ever created. One of the characters that has been done, redone, brought back to life, reimagined in so many times, in so many ways, through so many different decades. So, why should you see the new film, The Batman? First, a little history. The character of Batman was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger in their comic book series. After several years of their comics being published, the first TV show, The Batman, aired, starring Adam West as the Caped Crusader. Then years went by, a film was made, and then the films and the character of Batman really exploded with Tim Burton's Batman film in 1989, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. So, why should you see this year, 2022, The Batman? Well, The Batman is an absolute masterpiece of filmmaking. Matt Reeves has created a really wonderful tapestry visually, emotionally, character depth, and something that has been done so many times before and really put his own spin on it and made it unique and just really enjoyable for the audience. I mean, think about it. How many times have you seen a new Batman in recent years? Batman has been done, I would argue, more than any other fictional character ever, whether it's the live versions or the animated films. So, what made the Batman so unique? Well, for starters, the cast. The cast was so great in the fact that they each brought their own spin to the character and didn't really try to repeat things that were already done. They brought their own uniqueness, their own backstories, and their own human traits to the characters and just really brought these insane characters to life, but made them seem relatable, humanistic, and realistic, especially Robert Pattinson's Batman. When he was cast as this Batman, I, like many people, were like, what, the guy from Twilight? But his performance blew me out of the water. With Matt Reeves' directorial advice and with the writing of the film, Robert Pattinson really did something unique with his character and made his Bruce Wayne and his Batman completely different than other versions. Not saying that other versions weren't as good or were better. His version was just different and fit with this film in a really great comic book, I would say, accurate level. Zoe Kravitz's performance as Catwoman also was amazing. And her relationship with Batman, I would say, was the best live adaptation of that relationship. Even relationship of Jim Gordon to Batman. Jeffrey Wright's performance as Jim Gordon was great. He was amazing to see, and Jim Gordon's been done a lot. But their relationship was different and relatable and really entertaining to see. So with this cast of all these amazing characters, it really helped bring you in to this story. And despite the fact that there was a lot going on, you were just really fascinated and transfixed by what you saw in front of you. Another reason to see the Batman, you're a car person. Because what car person doesn't enjoy the Batmobile? The Batmobile has been redesigned as many times as its caped occupant. Because for every live action version, there's a new Batmobile. And one of the really great things about Matt Reeves' Batmobile is that he really redesigned it and brought it back to its grassroots level of a car that could really be made by one or two people, not a tank. Because as we saw in Batman v Superman and the Nolan trilogy, the Batmobile, as cool as it was more of a tank rather than a car. And so with filming wise, Matt Reeves directing and seeing this Batmobile of a souped up muscle car that Bruce could make by himself or with Alfred's help was really amazing. And the film itself was really brought back to its grassroots level. Because Matt Reeves' version of the Batman really leaned into the detective story. We saw a Batman who was more of a detective and who followed clues to solve the mystery of who the Riddler is. And that was really great to see because at the end of the day, Batman is the world's greatest detective. And in recent iterations of Batman, we haven't really seen that much. We've lost that side of him. So seeing him come back to the comic book Caped Crusader and the detective aspect was really fun and really interesting. And it really worked with this dark Gotham because Matt Reeves redesigned Gotham a bit and it wasn't New York City per se or a modern city, but this really gothic, dark, gritty, crime-infested city. And that really made the storytelling of this serial killer really interesting and just really fun and exciting. In addition, not just visually is Gotham amazing, the city, just the whole cinematography is amazing of the film. From the chase scenes, the action sequences, the explosions, everything just looks absolutely amazing and accompanied by an absolutely amazing yet haunting score that you just can't help but continually think about, and it really is terrifying as the villain himself and really sets the mood for the film. So what comes next? Well, there's potentially series films that are going to come out directed by Matt Reeves, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. However, HBO greenlit a series based on Colin Farrell's The Penguin, which will be coming out in the next couple of years. So that'll be really exciting because his performance of the Penguin was great. You know, being in a bat cave itself is really interesting, and Batman having all these fatty neighbors. So let's transition to our final segment as I talk about bright bats. Now, this is not a bat, nor is it an accurate representation of real bats. But let's just use our imagination, shall we? Bats, interestingly enough, are highly intelligent. They have an excellent memory, sense of direction, and they can use echolocation to find things in the pitch darkness and help them survive in their daily lives. So there are over 1,300 species of bats in the world. And despite what modern fiction, television, movies have portrayed bats as, only 3 species of bats actually drink blood. 3 species of vampire bats found in Central and South America. And when those bats feed on blood, they rarely ever feed on human blood, but livestock and animal blood. And the other 1,300 species only eat nectar, pollen, small insects, and smaller animals. So bats don't have to be this frightening facade that films and television and books have portrayed them as. And interestingly enough, bats don't actually suck or drink blood. They sort of lap it up like a cat because they have this protein in their spit that keeps the blood flowing. And that protein is called draculin. And it actually prevents the blood from clotting and lets them lap up the blood and keep getting their fill. And interestingly enough, scientists are using that protein in stroke patients to help their blood from clotting and to help save people's lives. Isn't that amazing? Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today on Chit Chat with Trenton. Did you enjoy what you saw? Like and subscribe below. So what are all of your thoughts, your questions, your opinions, your burning desires. Let me know in the comment section. Anything having to deal with the Daily Dunderhead, the Batman. Did I convince you to see the Batman? Did you already see the Batman and do you love it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts and opinions on bats? Do you like bats? Do you not care at all about bats? Do they give you the heebie-jeebies? Let me know in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you guys and what you have to say. And please join me next time on Chit-Chatting with Trenton in a very special episode where I will be visiting Coney Island and showing all of you what it has to offer. Thank you. And remember, I'm Trenton, and today I talked about a dim-witted depositor, the Batman, and bright bats.